from a consumer perspective, the insurance companies, they want to do the right thing. They have your back. They got boots on the ground ready to go when this all settles, and they can get in there and start kind of rebuilding and putting people's lives back together. From a policy perspective, most people are going to have a comprehensive policy that their home's going to be rebuilt, their belongings are going to be replaced. It will take time. How much time, that's yet to be determined based on how much damage there is to come in and clean up and take care of to get people rebuilt. But that's what you pay the monthly bill for, is for these situations. If it happens, that's what they want to do. That's what their mandate is. That's what the whole business is built off of.
Hello, it's Sandra Pike from Royal Page Atlantic and the Pike Group. And today I have with me Aaron MacDonald from Big Insurance. So I'll just let you, if you can, just elaborate on what it is that you do and a little bit about the company, that would be great, Aaron.
Sure. So Billiard Insurance Group, we're a local brokerage based in Bedford on Duke Street. We're full service brokerage. So we offer home insurance, auto, life insurance, commercial, pet, travel, you name it, we offer it. And that's pretty much sums it up. Insurance is pretty straightforward kind of business.
Yeah. So as an insurance broker and, you're from Halifax, you yourself have been displaced from Indigo Shores. What impact has the fire had with the insurance industry and real estate? If you can just talk to us about that.
But it's no doubt that there's going to be a large impact to the insurance industry and the insurance in Nova Scotia and naturally across the country, because it is kind of risk sharing. So what happens here impacts all of us in terms of rating and how much we pay for our insurance. But locally, we're in a position that we haven't seen in a very, very long time. Insurers have a lot of experience with hurricane and water damage claims and have had a lot of experience with that. Luckily, most of the insurers offered in Nova Scotia are national companies. We don't see as many small regional companies that you might get in Ontario. So they do have a fair bit of experience on the West Coast with wildfires and how to manage these situations. And I will say kudos to all of the insurers. They're doing a fantastic job to try and get out ahead of it. Anyone that's looking for information to start a claim, most of the major insurers have actually set up shop at the BMO Center, as well as the Canada Game Center. There's booths in there that you can go in, you can ask questions. My understanding is they should be fully operational to actually help you start the claim process, which is great because both those centers are housing a lot of individuals at this time. So it'll help alleviate that stress of being displaced from your home. It is a high stress, very fast moving situation. I myself experienced it. We thought we had a lot of time, and then told we have to get a boogie on and get moving. And so we did. And rest assured, long term, from a consumer perspective, the insurance companies, they want to do the right thing. They have your back. They got boots on the ground ready to go when this all settles, and they can get in there and start kind of rebuilding and putting people's lives back together. From a policy perspective, most people are going to have a comprehensive policy that their home's going to be rebuilt, their belongings are going to be replaced. It will take time. How much time, that's yet to be determined based on how much damage there is to come in and clean up and take care of to get people rebuilt. But that's what you pay the monthly bill for, is for these situations. If it happens, that's what they want to do. That's what their mandate is. That's what the whole business is built off of. So I think that I want to start off with that. From a real estate perspective, it's a very interesting, it's an interesting place to be, because we have not had a bonding moratorium of this magnitude in almost, I would say, my whole career. And I've been doing this for 8 years in the business. We've had hurricane bonding moratoriums, but those typically will last 1, maybe 2 days.
So before we continue, I don't mean to cut you off. So what moratorium right now do the insurance companies have in place?
So for anyone who doesn't know what a bonding moratorium is, it basically means we can't place insurance coverage on a property in select auto policies. And that's a very common practice when you have a disaster such as this happening. The insurance companies, they do need to somewhat protect themselves in a sense of not taking on risks that are presently uninsured or had a lapse of insurance or may have presented a previous moral hazard. So they tend to not want to bind new risks just so they're not purposely taking on a home that they know they're potentially going to have to replace. At present, we have a binding moratorium for anything obviously within the fire and the evacuation zone. And then depending on the company, they extend that to 25, 50, or some up to 90 kilometers from
Wow.
any wildfire situation.
So we were talking about that yesterday. A 50-kilometer radius would cover all of Halifax. So if I'm buying in, I don't know, somewhere over in Dartmouth or Eastern Passage, that's within the 50-kilometer radius of, of the fires. So could there be exceptions if I'm purchasing over in Eastern Passage?
There could be. A lot of it will rely on broker discretion or agent discretion. We do have the option to speak to an underwriter directly, kind of explain, we're the boots on the ground here. A lot of the support for insurers are based out of Ontario, especially now where they've taken a lot of the claims and underwriting team that may have experience in adjusting things out of office to get them out in the field to help to get the claim process started. So we can look at some cases, and if it logically makes sense to do so, it's not something that, for full transparency, I can speak for my brokerage and probably a lot of others that we're not actively pursuing because our number one priority is the current clients and getting them taken care of. But it is a possibility, and the reason they extend these distances is with a fire of this nature and the dry conditions, it can move very quickly. We've seen it in the last 24 hours where there's new fires popping up that are all over the city. So they want to avoid, again, taking on a risk that could potentially end up in a fire zone very, very quickly.
And totally understandable. So how long do you think the moratorium could last for? Would you say 30 days would be safe, or is it within a certain time limit once the fire has been under control?
No, it wouldn't be 30 days. It's typically when we get a notice from, DNR or the city or whoever is going to issue that says the fire is now under control. A lot of companies will start reducing their restrictions or removing the restrictions. It still will be implied within the initial evacuation zone until the all clear is given for people that still have homesteading to be able to return to their homes. It is very temporary. Insurance companies, brokers like myself, we want to get back to business as usual as quickly as possible. I wouldn't expect it to be a long period of time, maybe 24 or 48 hours, potentially maybe 72 hours after we get the under control notice for the fire. It really is going to depend on, they're going to rely a lot on the province and what data and information they're sharing as to how much control they have on this situation.
Yeah, we've been working with our clients for any closings that were happening in June saying, hey, this may not happen. So we have to prepare our clients in advance for sure. So I guess.
Yeah, I would.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say with anyone that has a closing, I would say up until probably next Friday, my suggestion for any agent would be to start reaching out to the buyer or seller and having those conditions moved by another week, maybe into the second week of June. And I know that can be difficult as there's a lot of relocation and people moving from across the country potentially, but you don't want to be in a situation where you're trying to close on a home and can't get insurance, especially if mortgages are involved. Banks,
Yes,
they're not going to fund mortgages. Not my area of expertise, but I've also heard that some lenders are also withholding funds while there's an evacuation order in place. Lenders and insurers tend to follow a lot of the same rules. They're both in the same level of risk management in a sense. So I would just kind of be proactive on it. Reach out, if you're a listing agent, reach out to your seller and say you should contact your company now and make sure your policy remains intact until you give the all clear if they've already called and had a pending cancellation put in. And for buyers, the same idea. if you don't already have your bonding confirmation from your insurer, you're likely not going to get it until the all clear is given. So I think there's
Mhm.
more of an impact on the listing side of the business to make sure that those properties stay insured until they close.
Absolutely, 100%. Well, you know what? I really thank you for your time today. And hopefully you'll be back in your house soon out at Indigo Shores. But you're very fortunate to have somewhere to go.
Yeah, I'm very, very thankful for it, although my back is screaming for my bed, but we're getting through it. It's just an extended camping trip. I'm sitting actually in my truck here with my dog because we're out to pick up supplies, and I was
Yep,
happy to hop on and share this information. I think it's important for everyone to kind of know how all this is going to shake out.
100%. Well, thank you for your time and prayers that you get home soon.
Thank you.